You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Good morning, Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, January 9th. Like always, I'm your guy, Hector, joined by my compañera this morning. I got the lovely Grace Monroe. Grace, how are you feeling?
Oh my God, y'all, I gotta tell you, it is snowing here in Texas. I don't even know, what's happening. We're in the upside down. Huge, big old snowflakes. And, so I'm literally looking out the window right now. Snow is falling. I don't know what's happening, but it's January 9th. We are vamping, as we say in the show business today. That means that you need to play. Vamping means that the band is going to keep playing the same measure over and over and over. And you as the singer, you just go vamp. And so basically that means you're stalling for, maybe there's a piece of scenery stuck backstage, or there's somebody forgot their entrance and they're still in the dressing room, and you're just going to vamp until they come out. You're just going to play the same measure of music over and over. And you as the singer, you just, yeah, just stalling. That's what we're doing today. We're just gonna vamp baseball because there ain't nothing to talk about new. Hopefully, we get some news soon.
Some stuff to talk about, right? You got some rumors going around about Luis Arraez. You got people throwing stuff against the wall when it comes to Marcus Stroman possibly being a perfect candidate for the San Diego Padres. But before we get into any news, we got to be able to shout out the chat. One of the best chats, if not the best chat that's out there on YouTube. So let's do a little bit of the roll call. Our friend Jonathan is in the building. Jonathan, how you doing? Jacob Petruzzi is in the building. Shout out to Grace and her brolic ass new tumbler that she got, and she learned what the word brolic meant backstage when we were talking. Shout out to Grace for that. Tina is in the building. Mr. Highlander said, might the holder be that Arraez hasn't agreed to his arbitration? I'm sure he will. Just a thought. No, definitely. I brought up his chat because something that he put, he's like, is Hector applying the finishing touches to his makeup or thinking of some way to make me spit out my coffee again? No, absolutely not. If you guys didn't see, we got a new intro for the show, right? I had to work on a new intro because everybody kept pointing out that Juan Soto is in the old intro. Yeah, Juan Soto is in the intro from last season. We were waiting for the new season to debut the new intro. But you know what? I had the intro, might as well put it out there. We will put a new one out when the season starts, when we get more footage, but I just want to do that, right? Shout out to Marshall Brown in the building. My guy, Marshall Brown, how you doing? Anthony Medina's in the building. Mi hermano de la isla, Anthony Medina, how you doing? Big Time Bryce is in the building. Hayden Bear is in the building. Stephen B, shout out to Stephen B in the building. Paranormal in the Fun House, how you doing? Gerberto's in the building. Big G, how you doing? My guy, Big Ant NYC, good morning, my beautiful people, representing Bayamon PR, where it's nice and sunny. Listen, don't rub it in our face, all right? It's going to be in the teens next week in New York City. It is snowing in Texas where Grace is at. So, you know, when it snows in Texas, the city, everything, the state just comes to a complete stop. No one's doing anything in Texas when it's snowing. Shout out to Big Ant and NYC. Everything is canceled when it's snowing in Texas. David Cohen is in the building. My guy D, how you doing? Joey Cowell is in the building. Theo Nosebleed section is in the building. Nosebleed, how you doing? We got JS is in the building. We got the NNR hours in the building. My guy Jason 161 is in the building. Jay Seno, how you doing? Frederick D, my guy Eddie Snap, salute. Like always, Chris K, smack that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep this conversation going because, like I said, Yankee fans, we're having a conversation when it comes to improving our infield, right? The rumors have it, Luis Arraez, the San Diego Padres, they're trying to cut bait when it comes to Luis Arraez for some weird reason. He has 1 year left on his contract before he hit free agency. But on top of it, the San Diego Padres, they have some internal quarrels, if that's the proper word to use right now, some internal dilemmas, internal drama between the wife of the former owner who just passed away and his brothers. There's a power struggle going on in San Diego for the ownership of the San Diego Padres, of who is controlling the franchise, right? If the owners or the former owner's brothers, if the owner who passed away, if his brothers get control of the team, they want to relocate the team out of San Diego. If the wife gets control of the team, she wants to keep the team in San Diego. So the San Diego Padres, on top of them with the whole Bally TV deal and their TV rights and losing out a lot of money and filing and asking for loans, on top of that, they have this internal power struggle as well. So it seems like the San Diego Padres, they have more problems on the inside that they have to resolve before they operate on the baseball field. Grace, I'll toss it over to you. Let's get your take on that. Shout out to Old Sarge in the building as well. Old Sarge, how you doing? Good morning. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, I heard, and I'm not super up on the Padres, but I heard that the brothers aren't really care. I heard that the discourse around the brothers, is that they're not planning to keep reinvesting a bunch of money in the team, keep trying to win and be relevant as much. They want the team for monetary reasons, and that they're not even Padres fans, that they're actually Dodgers fans. That some videos surfaced on the internet of one of the brothers' wives or something with Dodgers gear on and their daughter with Dodgers gear on during the World Series and cheering for the Dodgers and stuff. First of all, no Padres fan. I listen, I'm not super up on California baseball, but nope, I do know this. The Padres hate the Dodgers. There's a huge rivalry there. There's no Padres fan in any scenario that would cheer for the Dodgers against the New York Yankees in the World Series. So that's concerning. And then I know I heard also that the wife of the former owner wants to continue winning. That was her husband's dream.
Yes.
And it matters to her. She wants to keep reinvesting money in the team and trying to acquire players and keep the team relevant. Doesn't want to move out of San Diego. The brothers possibly do want to relocate out of San Diego. Don't care as much about winning. So, it's this whole struggle going on right now, and nobody knows what's going to happen. Obviously, it's in litigation. But is this going to affect Roki Sasaki's decision? Is this kind of tumult going on going to give him a feeling of unrest when you're going into a situation where you're going to be in a town or with a team for a few years, and it's important to you to continue to develop? That's what he said. It's not about the money for him right now because there's a cap on what he's going to make. It's about where he can go to be put in the best situation to win, and B, situation to get better as a pitcher, to develop. Yeah. So what's going to make him think that that's a good situation to go into? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's a great point to bring up, Grace, because when you look at it, right, and Graham, shout out to Graham, also always dropping amazing chats, and in the chat says the Padres ownership, talking about the brothers, have previous connection to the former Dodgers ownership when it comes to Peter O'Malley, right? If you guys remember, Peter O'Malley is the former Dodgers owner that Major League Baseball had to step in and force them to sell because they were bankrupting the LA Dodgers. So if you're a Padres fan and you hear that side of the Padres power dynamics are close to him, you're very worried, right? Because you don't know what's going to happen in San Diego. Like Grace said, the former wife, or his ex-wife, because he passed away. I want to say ex-wife, his wife, or his widow, I should say. His widow. Yeah, his widow is the proper word to use. She wants to continue what he was trying to do in his last few years still alive on this planet. And that was, he went out there and he pushed them to go and trade for Juan Soto. He gave that massive contract extension to Fernando Tatis. He signed Manny Machado in free agency, and that was his whole thing, spending money for the team, spending money for the fans. And now you have a power struggle with, and I think Graham put it in the chat as well, if the Padres dispute, if it goes to court, the court could order the team to be sold, and it could lead to a bigger mess. So if you're Roki Sasaki, yes, you have that connection with you, Darvish. But is that the situation you want to wind up in, right? I know a lot of people, they keep talking about the Dodgers, and, you know, the Dodgers came out with some cryptic message from their GM about Roki Sasaki. I don't think Roki winds up with the Dodgers because of how his agent was talking about the process at the winter meetings about how, oh, the whole handshake under the table and people trying to speculate different things. I think Roki and his agent wants to stay far away from that because of all the drama that's attached to it. You got Shohei and the whole Ippy, the gambling scandal that still is hovering over his head. So I think Roki wants to stay far away from that. But then again, you never know, because the Dodgers could just show up and just offer him so much deferred money. Be like, listen, we'll sign you to the international signing money right now, but later on down the line, you're going to have a shitload of money coming to you, right? So the Dodgers could do that as well. You never know, right? You got to take everything and throw it against the wall. I put out a video yesterday on TikTok talking to one of the senior writers that I know that are connected to both the Yankees and the Mets about the whole Roki Sasaki situation and comparing it to Yamamoto. Right, because, you know, he was asking me, he's like, how confident? Oh, he's like, are you confident that the Yankees have a chance when it comes to getting Roki? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm treating the Roki situation the same way how after we lost out on Yamamoto, I had it in my head, this is how I'm going to handle these situations going forward when it comes to Japanese players coming over to the U.S. And then speaking to the senior right, I don't want to say his name. Speaking to the senior writer, he let me know, like, listen, you know, the difference between the Yamamoto negotiations and the Roki negotiations now, from the people that he spoke with, is that last year, if you guys remember, Swimi Minari, the new minority owner of the New York Yankees, he wasn't involved with the Yamamoto negotiations last year like he is with the Roki Sasaki situation now, right? So take it with a grain of salt, right? Again, it could be anything. This could be nothing. This could be minor, right? If he is involved in these conversations, maybe we feel a little bit confident. I know there was reports circling that the Yankees, Brian Hoke put it out there that the Yankees, they feel very confident in their negotiations with Roki Sasaki. So that's something to put out there. When it comes to Roki Sasaki, January 15th is next week, right around the corner. We'll find out where Roki Sasaki goes next week. So it's all, take everything with a grain of salt. Like Grace said, we're just vamping right now, right? I don't know what that word means, but I'm gonna just keep it on. We're just vamping right now, okay?
I tried to tell you what it means.
But I want to shout out TC Stills in the chat. Shout out to TC Stills, my brother TC. Let me know if you're free this morning, bro. If you want to jump in on the conversation, I'll shoot you the text message. Appreciate you as well. Oh, that's right. TC's in California. Jesus Christ, TC. I hope everything is going well, TC. I know you're more closer to San Diego. I hope your family's doing well. I hope your wife's family doing well as well. TC, if you need anything, stay safe out there. And just let us know if there's anything you need, brother. I'm thoughts and prayers are pulling for you, TC. Sorry about that, Grace. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I should have texted him too. I didn't even think about that. I heard about the fire, but I
always connect him with San Diego. I'm always thinking he's not in San Diego, but I always have it in my head that TC's in San Diego. Sorry, TC.
Well,
Go ahead,
I don't know
Grace.
that much about like the geography of LA, like at all. So anyway, I'm so sorry, TC. I hope you're okay. I hope Valerie's okay and everything. Y'all, if you have any friends in California, check on them.
Yes. Southern
California is literally on fire right now. It's terrible, and I worry about all the animals too. But anyway, okay, that aside, so Sasaki is in California. It's on fire. New York City is in the teens. Texas is under snow, you know, because he's talking about going to the Rangers. So you know what? He doesn't have that many good options. So when all of that is said and done, the Yankees are the best team. Just come there and let's just get it done. Come on.
Yeah. No. No. Serious. On a serious note, though, you know, thoughts and prayers to everyone that's dealing with this right now. Folks in the chat, you know, there's different hotlines out there that you guys can call. If you guys have any donations, any money that you can send, please send out to, you know, organizations that are out there helping people that are displaced right now with everything that's going on with the fires in California. So again, thoughts and prayers and positive energy to our brother TC Stills and everyone that's going through something out there right now during this time. But getting back to the baseball conversation, Grace, when it comes to, you know, I don't want to lose track, right? We'll talk about Roki later on. I know I just sprinkled some stuff in about Roki, but when it comes to Luis Arraez, there's been a conversation that Yankee fans have been having online, and folks in the chat as well. Please feel free to chime in when it comes to Luis Arraez. And I know his defense is bad, but people saying that Luis Arraez is Gleyber Torres 2.0, that's something that I cannot co-sign, because when you look at them, yes, defensively, they may be equal when it comes to defense. When it comes to speed, they're identical. They're both slow as hell, right? That's not that. I'm not arguing against that. But Luis Arraez, he may not give you anything when it comes to home runs. 80% of his hits are singles. I get that. But this is a man that he has won 3 batting titles in a row. Gleyber Torres, on his best day, batting average wise, is not coming close to Luis Arraez. Yes, Gleyber Torres can pop you 20 home runs, 25 home runs, 30 home runs. I get that. But I don't think that he is Luis. I don't think that Luis Arraez is Gleyber Torres 2.0. That's one. Secondly, if we were to go into the season right now and our options at second base are DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera, I don't see the argument how a platoon of DJ and Oswaldo Cabrera is better than what Luis Arraez can give us at that position. I don't see the argument for it. And when it comes to trades, the Padres are trying to just get rid of money. So this is a way for us to include Marcus Stroman in that trade, because they need pitching coming back. They need some innings. And if you have to give up a prospect, we give up a prospect to get off of Marcus Stroman's contract. I just do not see the argument that a platoon of DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera is better than trading for Luis Arraez. I don't see that. I don't see how that makes sense in anyone's eyes. Grace, what's your take on that? Folks in the chat, let me know as well. And keep this also in mind. We do recognize that, Giancarlo Stanton during the season, he doesn't play 162 games. So there's going to be times that Luis Arraez can solely be the DH, and you can have whoever fill in at second base, because, Giancarlo Stanton, he's getting up there in age, and he's a player that he goes on the IL from time to time. He goes on the injured list. So if there's a scenario that you could get Luis Arraez to play 30 games or 60 games as a DH because Giancarlo Stanton is injured, how are we arguing against that? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Grace. Let's get your take. Folks in the chat, let us know as well.
There's so much to say about this. We briefly touched on this last episode, and I was adamant that, the defense is important. We just moved on from Torres, where the defense plagued us for years, right? And we always had offensive upside with Gleyber, no matter where he was hitting in the lineup, right? And of course, in the postseason last year, his contribution to the lineup as the leadoff guy, getting on base in front of Soto and Judge was invaluable to the team, okay? And we all acknowledge that. This defense has been a problem for years. So when we decided to move on from him and we ended up making all these moves in the offseason, we thought here on Yankees Morning Brew, we're like, oh, I see what Cashman's doing. Right? We embarrassed ourselves in the World Series. We embarrassed ourselves in the postseason with this defense, with 5 unearned runs in 1 inning. I mean, that was the worst case scenario. But all postseason long, we embarrassed ourselves with defense. And Cashman said, okay, cool. I'm going to right this ship. I'm going to get some gold gloves. I'm going to get some MVPs. I'm getting this guy. I'm moving Judge back to right field. I'm moving, everybody's going back to their correct position. And so when the name Luis Arraez was brought up with this kind of defense offseason plan in mind, I thought, no way, there's no way they're going to do this, because they're concentrating on defense. They're trying to get better in everywhere and blah, blah, blah. But the more I think about it, I'm like, maybe that's not their total plan. Maybe their plan is just to improve in all of these areas. However that improving needs to happen is going to happen. So, like, for example, just moving Judge from center to right field is an improvement. Right?
Absolutely.
Didn't mean they needed to sign anybody. Didn't mean they needed to trade for anybody. Just moving him there, check, improvement, right? Getting Jason Dominguez, check, improvement. Getting Cody Bellinger, check, improvement. Now, when it comes to second base, and the position that Luis Arraez would most likely play, right? Is his defense better than Glaber's? No. I'm going to say no. Now, some metrics that you look at, it looks like it's worse than Glaber's. Some metrics you look at, it's not as bad as Glaber's. So it's hard to say. When all these things are averaged out, I'm going to say, let's just say it's even. Let's say it's even at below average defense. But is his bat better than Glaber's? Yes, that's a fact. That's a fact. Now, there are people who don't like the fact that he doesn't hit bombs, right? And Gleyber did. Gleyber had slug, right? And Luis Arraez just hits what it seems to be singles. He's like a singles machine. But his on-base percentage is higher than Gleyber's, and he virtually never walks.
And he never strikes out.
He never strikes out. He just hits singles. Now, we need him to get on base. If he hits leadoff, we need him to get on base in front of Judge, in front of Belly, in front of Stanton, in front of all these guys, right? But that also means that when the lineup turns over, and theoretically, we got Volpe on base, or we've got, whoever hits at the bottom. I don't know who's going to hit at the bottom. Jason Dominguez, who's a great base runner as well.
Yeah.
And then you have Luis Arraez come up and hit a single. That's a run or two, right? So it is valuable to the team. It's a different way than Gleyber. And he's a left-handed bat and not a right-handed bat. So that also helps balance out the lineup, right? At the top of the order. You can have left Arraez, right Judge, left, Belly, right Stanton, however you put it together.
Figure it out, yeah.
Right? But it gives you more balance to the lineup. So in that way, are you getting better? In that way, is that better than Gleyber? Yes. Is the defense better than Gleyber? No. But overall, I do think it's better incrementally and in a different way.
Yeah, I see the argument there. We got Jason, our guy 161 is backstage. I'm gonna bring him up right now. And one thing I just wanted to add on to Grace's point is that Luis Arraez last year, he only struck out 9% of the times. He was up to bat. That's one thing. Secondly, losing Juan Soto, we lost something big, and having a guy who hits well with runners in scoring position. When it comes
Hector,
to Luis Arraez, for his career, Luis Arraez has a .323 batting average with runners in scoring position. Again, I'm going to say that again. With runners in scoring position, Luis Arraez has a .323 batting average. I think that .323 was Gleyber Torres' on-base percentage last season, right? So we got two guys backstage. Our friend Jason 161, TC Steels is in the building. Let's bring up the familiar folks. How you doing, TC? Jason, happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
How you
Happy
doing?
New Year.
First of all,
yeah,
TC,
Happy New Year, guys.
Family's doing good, bro.
Yeah.
My fault for the brain fart. For the time that we've known each other, I've always had it in my head that you was in San Diego, and you always tell me, Hector, I'm not in fucking San Diego. And so sorry about that, TC.
TC said, I live 30 minutes from Disneyland. I'm like, what does that mean? That doesn't mean anything to me. I don't know where that is.
Well, you got to know California. Disneyland is like Orange County. LA is the next county. So you got LA counties up north.
Okay.
So that's about 50, 60 miles from me. Like where Hollywood, all that is. Then Disneyland, and then where I'm at, I'm in like Inland Empire, which is Riverside County. But it is on the way to San Diego. I'm still an hour and a half away from San Diego.
Okay.
But I'm about an hour and a half from where these fires are. It's a disaster. It's the wind. The wind is crazy out here, and it's not helping these firefighters.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But they know. Yeah. I mean, it happens every year. This is but this is out of control. I don't know.
The winds aren't helping it, like you said, TC. You know, having
Yeah.
the winds whip up and throw around amber and flare like that. That's the reason why the brush
There's
is
hot
carrying
spots
the
everywhere,
way that it is. Just different hot spots, and it's hard for them to control, especially when you think of it. When you think of the logistics of it, real quick, right? People are living on mountains, so it's hard for fire trucks with those big ass water reservoirs to make it up the hills. You know, when I was in Puerto Rico, that was one thing I noticed in the mountains. It's very hard to make it up the hills and make it up those roads, right? So again, TC, thoughts and prayers are to you and your family. Yeah. Let's keep the conversation going. We got over 180 people watching us collectively. We got close to 100 people on YouTube. We're sitting on 44 likes. If you guys can't smack that like button, Jason, I'm gonna throw it over to you because you was in the chat talking about Brendan Donovan. I know today is like the arbitration day. A lot of people are going to be signing. Let's get your take on Brendan Donovan. A lot of Yankee fans losing their mind. And go ahead, Jay. The floor is yours.
Well, the Cardinals are close to locking him up long term right now.
Nutsy.
Punch to the gut to me, but it is what it is. But that tells me that they're close to trading Nolan Arenado too. So where I've
pass next.
Oh yeah. And to your point too, Grace, because you made an important point about Arraez and Hector too. Like one of the things I think is important people to remember that the Yankees lineup is longer now. Right? We got a full year of Jazz, a full year of Dominguez. We've added Goldschmidt. We've added Bellinger. So the 7, 8, 9 now are going to be probably who? Volpe, Dominguez, and Austin Wells or something like that. That's a pretty nice 7, 8, 9. And let's say you have a runner on second and third. I don't care if Arraez walks. I care if he hits a single.
Exactly.
A 2-run single is more valuable than a solo home run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if he's on base, he's setting up 2, 3, and 4 to drive him in. So I think both sides, that singles really, really plays well to the Yankees. So I wouldn't be offended at all if Arraez came here. And the fact is, his defense is not going to hurt the team as much as his offense is going to help them. Right? And there is, and to your point too, Grace, there's a difference between not getting to the ball and booting the ball. Right? DRS, defensive run saved, and outs above average, that pertains to your range. Ball pertains to your fundamentals. Gleyber Torres booted it regularly. Arraez does not. And even Soto in right field, he didn't boot the ball. He just didn't get to the ball. Right? So, and I think it's important to he's going to be if he comes here and plays second, he has a Gold Glover on either side of him, and behind him in Judge, he has a superior guy with a cannon for an arm. So. I can't think of anybody better than Judge to get the ball back to a cutoff guy to get the ball back in here. So Arraez would be in good hands wherever he is if he plays second here.
And that's a great point. And I'll toss it over to Grace. I just want to add in real quick, Jason, because that's what I wanted to bring up. When I look at Luis Arraez, he will be the leadoff hitter for his first at-bat of the game. And for the rest of the game, I view him as a guy who can hit with runners in scoring position and who could drive in runs. Because like Jason said, if your 7th, 8th, and 9th hitters are Volpe, Wells, and Dominguez, by the time it comes back around, you got two guys at the bottom of the lineup that have elite speed when it comes to Volpe and Dominguez. If they get on base, they could get into scoring position like that. And you got a guy in Austin Wells who could find the double just by getting out of the bed, who could be in running position, a scoring position like that. So when you have Luis Arraez, who's a 323 hitter with runners in scoring position, by the time it circles back around, you got a guy that can do damage in your lineup, whether it's just a single. If it's a single and you move that guy from first to third, you're adding more pressure to the opposing pitcher when Judge and Bellinger and Goldsmith and everybody else is coming to bat. Go ahead, Grace. Folks in the chat, let us know as well, and then toss it over to TC. Grace.
The pressure is incredible. Every pitcher knows Luis Arraez, okay? This guy is a 3-time batting champion, 3 years in a row. Not even close. His batting average, I know people are like, oh, batting average doesn't matter. Yes, it does, okay? And it matters to pitchers, I guarantee you, okay? So when Luis Arraez is at bat, there's definitely a challenge for the pitcher to navigate through. But what I wanted to bring up to you guys, Hector, is it possible for you to bring up, like, his spray chart for us to look at? Because I heard somebody say
I'll bring up his baseball savant.
Okay, because I heard somebody say when you're a lefty and you make your money hitting singles, possibly pulling it a lot to right field. Since our right field is so shallow, could some of those hits be taken away from him just because the right fielder is going to be able to get to those balls a lot more? I know you don't play every game at home, but is that something that's possibly a drawback for him playing at Yankee Stadium?
That's an argument to have, and I want to say when it comes to Luis Arraez, because his hits are singles, I don't think we should worry about that. Now, if it was a guy that was hitting it into the gap in right center field as for doubles, or against the wall, then yeah, because the right fielder would have less ground to patrol, it's easier for a home run, but it's easier for a fly out. But being the fact that Luis Arraez hits singles, I don't think that's something that we have to worry about. I want to shout out big time Jerry Cadill in the chat. Big time Jerry, how you doing? Jerry, I've missed you. Every time I speak to TC, I ask TC, why don't you like me anymore? I miss you big time, Jerry. I hope all is well. God bless you. God bless the family. But TC, before I toss it over to TC, this is the spray chart. His baseball savant page that Grace was asking for, and when you look at his spray chart for 2024, it's pretty balanced, right?
Yeah.
It's center, left, and right field. You have his home runs, if he has any home runs, you see it goes to right field and only to right field. So maybe his power numbers will increase being in Yankee Stadium. That's just something for us to see if the trade was to go through. TC, let's get your take on the conversation. Shout out to LI Yankee King, the Debbie Downer of the Yankee universe. The only troll I acknowledge is my bestie, LI Yankee King, the Debbie Downer of the Yankees universe. Go ahead, TC.
Well, I'm all about old school baseball, and Arraez is a table setter. He's a prototypical leadoff hitter, gets on base, slap hitter. We don't need any more home run hitters. I'm not missing Gleyber Torres at the top, going for the fence every time. I don't need that. I need a guy that gets on base in front of Judge, in front of Bellinger, and is a run machine. I mean, he can drive in, run. This lineup is just waiting for a hitter like that. Well, I mean, we're so terrible at driving runners in scoring position. We've got to be at the bottom every year. And this guy, comes up. How many? 5 times lead off, 5 times a game. I mean, he's a professional hitter. This is something we dearly miss on this team. We have, I stressed it so many times on this show before that we're home run or nothing. It seems, I mean, in the World Series, in the playoffs, it seemed like that's all it was. So we need a guy that can, be the table setter, I remember days with Chuck Knobloch and Jeter. I mean, I miss that. Those are guys that got on base in front of all the, the big boppers. And that's what we need. We have such a long lineup with Arraez at the top. I don't care about his defense. He'll make the routine plays. Like Jason said, he's fine. He'll be fine. We need this guy at the top of the lineup. And I'm sure the trade, it's not going to cost much. So I'm all for it. Me, my dad, and my brother, we've been yelling for Arraez for years. I mean, get this guy here. And now is the time, and everyone's like, oh, well, I don't know about his defense. I don't know about his running. Get out of here with that. This guy at the top of the lineup, that's a World Series lineup.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Great.
Go ahead.
You go first, Grace.
No, you.
Okay. That defense base running was the same criticism that people levied on Juan Soto a couple weeks ago. They were attacking him for his defense and his base. He wasn't here for either. We didn't need to be Jim Edmonds when he came here. It needed to be Juan Soto. It's exactly what it was. But if I could point out something, Luis Arraez got 200 hits this year. 200.
Oh, God.
200. And he's had 30-plus doubles every year for the last 3 years also. He hits doubles also, which is a good thing. So it's not only singles. People call him a one-trick pony. It's more than a one-trick. He's very good.
No, I gotta agree with you. And then we know how hard it is to hit home runs in San Diego. And looking at his spray chart, he had some home runs. He had a couple of home runs in San Diego. You put him in Yankee Stadium in right field, it should be a lot easier for him to touch the short porch in right field. But shout out to the Big Japple, because he just added on to Jason's point. Luis Arraez had 39 extra base hits last year. With a hurt hand, he would get more than enough gappers throughout 162 games, 81 of those games being at Yankee Stadium. Go ahead, Grace.
Hector, I just wanted to point out the super chat so we don't forget it, so we don't miss it. We got to.
Oh, sorry about that. David Cohen, my apologize for the $4.99 super chat. So, guys, I probably know Grace didn't. Wait, I probably know Grace didn't. But Hector, did you watch the debut episode of Raw on Netflix? Hope the Yankees get a rise to balance the lineup. Listen, David, absolutely. I was watching it with my girlfriend here. Shout out to WWE and that whole Netflix deal. I thought it was awesome. Too many advertisers in the ring. If you ask me, I couldn't focus on all those different brand names in the ring. But no, definitely, David. I'm a big time wrestling dweeb. Okay, Grace, you could go ahead. The Rock was back.
Sorry,
Hogan got booed. Everything was awesome. Everything was right in the universe. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah. All I wanted to say on Jason's point was what we've been preaching for what feels like years was put the ball in play. Good things happen when you put the ball in play. If you have runners on base and you put the ball in play, that equals runs. That's how the Rangers won the World Series. They had a couple big bats in their lineup for sure. But you know what they did all year long? They was death by 1,000 cuts because they had guys that would put the ball in play. They had athletes on the base paths that could make plays. We have Jazz. We have Volpe. We have Jason Dominguez. Don't sleep on his base running ability, y'all. We have Cody Bellinger. Don't sleep on his base running ability. And Aaron Judge can steal bases too. Nobody ever talks about that. Let me tell you, we only have a couple guys that are clogging up the base paths now, okay? And it doesn't matter if Luis Arraez is not a good base runner when he's in front of Aaron Judge, the best home run hitter in 50 years, okay? Well, 30 years. You don't need him to run the bases. The problem was Volpe's strengths were almost wasted when he was batting leadoff because they didn't want him to try to work steals in front of Aaron Judge. They didn't want it to open up first base so that they would just walk Aaron Judge. So they kept him on first base. That took away one of his tools. So it's not an ideal situation to have Anthony Volpe, an incredible base runner, hitting leadoff. But Luis Arraez, you're not wasting one of his tools by having him not steal, right? Because he can't steal. So he just needs to get on base by hitting the ball, and then let Aaron Judge come up, let Cody Bellinger come up, and then when he's coming back around, like I said, whoever's on base, that's when you need a base hit. And that's what Luis Arraez does better than anyone else in the game. Period.
My guy Graham helping us out when it comes to the arbitration. New Campunzano and the Padres have agreed on a deal avoiding arbitration. Graham, thank you for the inside track. And folks in the chat, throw the cooking emoji in the chat because Grace was just cooking. She's serving soup to everybody out there in Yankees universe. It's cold in the streets, and Grace has the hot soup for everyone to eat right now. Shout out to Yankee Kyle in the building. Yankee Kyle, how you doing? No, absolutely, Grace. You hit it right on the head. Alex Campos with the chef hat. Shout out to my girlfriend. She's the best. Don Sicario is in the building. El Don, how you doing? Right, salute. This is my last take when it comes to Luis Arraez, and I want to move the conversation over to Roki Sasaki. But when it comes to Luis Arraez, again, I think everybody, TC, you made a phenomenal point. Jason, Grace as well. Folks in the chat are making phenomenal points. I think the only person that is against Luis Arraez in the chat is my brother, L.I. Yankee King. I love my guy, L.I. Yankee King. And as I said it, he types this in the chat. So it's okay for Arraez to have bad defense and bad base running, but not for Torres or Soto. That seems kind of hypocritical. Look at L.I. Yankee King using big words like hypocritical. That's why I love my guy, L.I. Yankee King. No, but for me, when it comes to Luis Arraez, maybe, I don't know. When it comes to Luis Arraez, like TC said, it lengthens the lineup. Old school baseball, having a guy with a 300 batting average, having a guy that can be the table setter. Yes, he doesn't have the speed. He's not going to steal you 40 bags. I get it. He's not going to steal you 30 bags. I get that. But he could get on base in front of Aaron Judge. And if you could have a guy get on base in front of Aaron Judge, look what happened last year. I know Juan Soto and Luis Arraez, they're two different players on two different sides of the spectrum when it comes to their abilities at the plate. But what they can do is get on base. And when Juan Soto got on base last year in front of Aaron Judge had his best season of his career. If you could get someone like Luis Arraez hitting in front of Aaron Judge, getting on base, you put more pressure on the opposing pitcher to lock in and not leave mistakes for Aaron Judge to knock out the yard. I just think it's an easy upgrade from the leadoff spot. It's an upgrade over DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera, and it's an upgrade when it comes to hitting and the hitting approach that we have been doing and we've had over the past several years, if you get what I'm saying.
Let me just say one thing.
Go ahead, Grace. Go ahead.
There isn't a perfect option out there, guys. We are where we are. This is the offseason that we have to work with. These are our options. There is no perfect fit available. Otherwise, Cashman would have got it by now, I do believe. There is no perfect fit. Everyone who's available has some sort of drawback, okay? So is anybody out there saying Luis Arraez is the perfect player for the Yankees? He's perfect. No, nobody's saying that. Is anybody out there saying out of the options that are available, he's the best option? There are a lot of people saying that. So let's be clear here. Nobody is saying that Luis Arraez is the perfect baseball player, okay? But we have to figure out a way to move forward as a team and not waste a year of Aaron Judge's prime, one of Garrett Cole's last years of his prime, maybe Giancarlo's last year, of his productivity. Okay, so we have to figure out a way to move forward with the options we have. Beggars can't be choosers and all that stuff. Okay, so I just want to be clear.
Yeah, CT Cars hit it perfectly. I can't stand the comparisons of Luis and Torres. Luis is a 323 lifetime hitter, 29 total errors in his career. Torres is nowhere near 300 hitter and has a total of 106 total career errors. CT Cars keep on cooking. TC, I want to throw it over to you, TC, but before TC goes, folks, we have 250 people rocking out with us this morning. We have over 150 people on YouTube. If you guys can, please smack that like button and hit that subscribe button. We're sitting on 63 likes right now. Let's get the likes to 100. And when it comes to subscribers, we are at 4,762 on our way to 5K. Smack that sub button. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, well, I mean, are we still talking about Luis Arraez, or are we? I mean,
let's get your last take on Luis Arraez, and then we switch the convo to Roki.
So we're just missing one piece in offensively, right? Pitching. I think we need some lefties in the bullpen, and maybe a bench piece here and there, but one key piece. And if that name pops up, Luis Arraez, and you don't go for it, I don't know what you're doing, Cashman. I mean, like I said, he's the perfect. I think he's a perfect leadoff. He's not a speedster. He's not a Ricky Henderson. Okay, but for this team, getting on base in front of Judge, in front of Bellinger, he's the perfect guy. Hey, you guys just made a point about the bottom of our lineup, right, Jason? We're gonna have Volpe, Dominguez, Wells. What's wrong with that? That's the bottom of the lineup, and then you got Arraez coming up. Right. He could have close to 85, 90 RBIs at the leadoff spot. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And we also, another point is, we got a guy on our bench that we don't like, right? For offense, DJ LeMahieu, but he can still play defense. So in late innings, you can put him at second base if you're worried about the defense, for Arraez. But overall, I'm all for it. That's a no-brainer for me. There's nobody else out there. I don't know what else. What else are we gonna do?
That's a fit, or that's interested, or that's even talking. You can't just say, "Oh, I want the best second baseman in the league."
You're not getting
Cashman,
that.
go get him. Well, that's not real. That's not real. Okay, we can sit here and we can talk about how I want Josh Young from the Texas Rangers. He's not available. Okay, but you know what I'm saying. But like the Royals still want to win. You know what I'm saying? Like these teams, they're not trying to trade away their best players. The Rays still want to win. Apparently, they have no interest in trading Brandon Lau, okay? So it's not going to happen. what's available. The Padres are actually talking to Cashman. The Padres are actually interested in Marcus Stroman. There could be a potential fit there. You have to work with what is available and what you can do. You can't just, he's not Harry Houdini. He doesn't go out there and just like do magic tricks. You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, absolutely. And if you go into the season, right, there's somebody put it in the chat, with DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo Cabrera as your platoon, you're making it harder for Brian Cashman to make moves at the trade deadline. Because if we're at the trade deadline, if you're a GM and you're talking with the Yankees and 4 other teams around your second baseman, you're going to try to get the most back in return for that second baseman. Right now in the offseason, it's not that much of a trader's market for infielders. So the asking price or the demand is not as high right now like it would be if we were to go into the season without an option at second base and we tried to add during the season. It will be worse slim pickings and people will be asking for more because the demand may be a little bit higher. LI Yankee King Michael Massey with the 199 super chat. Michael Macy from the Royals is a better option. Michael Macy defensively, he's a better defender than Luis Arraez. Absolutely. He can run faster than Luis Arraez. Yes, he was a 259 hitter last year and only 100 games, LI. That's the difference between Arraez and Macy. Go ahead, Jason. Let's get your last take before we switch gears to Roki.
He's also not available yet, Massey. The Reds haven't put him on the Arraez is on the block. I talked about Massey as a guy because maybe they will put him on the block because they got Gavin Lux now, but it hasn't happened yet. So until that happens, like Grace said, we have to work what we have in front of us, right? So there's no magic wand for Brian Cashman. So, and that's the thing. Luis Arraez right now is the best option that's available. I mean, we talked about Massey. We've talked about other guys, Lowe, Yandy. We've talked about all these other folks. But there's not, these guys aren't available yet, unfortunately. So, and they may never become available. I like Young too. Josh, I like both of them, but they're not available.
I know.
Yeah. What can we do? And again, Arraez at second. If it happens, you have Jazz, you have the strongest arm in the outfield in the spot where we need it the most, third base, in the infield. We need it the most at third base. That's where the strongest arm, he has the strongest arm. So, it's a pretty decent fit. As much as I would love Brendan Donovan, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or Ryan McMahon.
That's the guy.
Right.
Unfortunately.
We can dream.
Yeah, girl can dream.
Girl can dream.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They're not going to just give them to us.
Right.
Yeah, team. This not. What happened, Jason?
No, I was just going to say exactly. And I'm going to go live on my channel in a little bit, but I wanted to point out something too. I want to leave you with 2 things. I don't know if you heard it, but the Yankees are getting a lot of calls right now on Oswaldo Cabrera. Teams want to trade for Oswaldo. Cabrera. I also heard a report this morning. I'm looking to see if there is more meat on the bone, but it seems Roki Sasaki, the Yankees are the only East Coast team he's now considering. And
that's where I wanted to go with the Roki Sasaki conversation. And Jason, you dropped the video yesterday. I dropped the video on TikTok talking about it as well. And, from, somebody that I, earlier on the show, I mentioned to somebody I've spoke to, a journalist, I very respect the journalist. I respect the hell out of him. He helped me out tremendously since I've been going to Yankee games and Met games as a member of the media. But him and I was having a conversation about Roki Sasaki, and he pointed out how Swimi Minari, one of the Yankees' new minority owners, last year he wasn't involved with the Yamamoto conversation. Copy. Just take it with a grain of salt with that. But he said that he is heavily involved with the people that he spoke with the Yankees say that he is heavily involved when it comes to Roki Sasaki and those conversations. So this is why the Yankees feel that they feel confident going into these Roki Sasaki conversations or into these meetings. January 15th, like I said, is around the corner. Jason, let's get your take on it as well. Folks in the chat, let us know. And again, just treat this like Yamamoto. If he comes, copy. It's just icing on the cake, right? It's just also, it's great. But if he doesn't, don't get your hopes up, because if he doesn't come, I don't want Yankee fans to lose it like we did last year for Yamamoto. So Jason, let's get your take. Folks in the chat, let's get your take as well, and I'll toss it around to TC and Grace.
I put a short out on it yesterday. I mean, I don't think the noteworthy news is that the Yankees are confident. I think the noteworthy news is that this Japanese guy's in on Sasaki where he wasn't in on Yamamoto. That's the news. Okay. And I actually put out a story yesterday. I had to give you credit for it because you're the one that came up with this. You're the one that shared the news. So I can't take credit for that. That's all you.
Appreciate you, brother.
And to me, that's more newsworthy than the Yankees feeling confident, because I feel confident, but it's still at the end of the day, and until it happens, he's not a Yankee yet. So I love it to happen. Again, do I like the Yankees' chances better today than I did yesterday? Yes, because of the chaos and the new news we have with the Japanese owner. Yes, but again, take it with a grain of salt. We still have to wait another week or two, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So playing the waiting game until then. And
and
I'm going to talk about it a little bit more when I go live.
Yeah, and guys, make sure you guys go and follow Jason over there at 161. If you aren't, I know you probably already are, but if you aren't, what are you doing with your life? Get from under the rock and follow the 161 Mafia. Shout out to my guy Jay, always being one of the realest out there. We're just going to toast to Jason. You got to dip off, because I know you say you got to get ready for your live.
Ready for my live, so I appreciate all three of you. You are the best dynamic duo. Steels, great to see you, my brother. Be safe out in California. Much love to all of you. I'll catch you on the other side, guys.
Jason,
Bye,
appreciate
Jason.
you, my guy. Like always, shout out to Jason. He is one of the best that are out there. Let me switch this up momentarily. The 3-man crew is here. Again, we got over 280 people rocking with us collectively, 160 on YouTube. If you guys can smack that like button, we're sitting on 79 likes. Let's get to 100 likes on the stream. Danny with the 499. The Martian, in my opinion, is our replacement for Soto, talent-wise. If we could get Roki or Arraez, we will be a World Series team. Listen, Danny, speak that into existence, because when it comes to Roki, like I said a few shows back, Grace, and you and I, we was on the same wavelength with it. When you look at our starting rotation, when you have Garrett Cole as your number 1, when you have Max Fried as your number 2, when you have Carlos Rodon as your 3, and Luis Hill, Rookie of the Year, as your 4th starting pitcher, if you were to add Roki Sasaki, he is at the back end of your rotation. He is your 4th or your 5th starter. Roki Sasaki is not a finished product. He has a fastball that is 102, 105 miles per hour, a splitter that is probably the most nastiest splitter I've ever seen, but he is not a finished product yet. He still has some control issues. So if any team imports Roki and automatically think he's the ace from day one, you're mistaken. Roki has to still learn how to pitch at the major league level. Roki is still not a finished product. So if you bring him over here and you make him your 4th or 5th starter, you take so much pressure off of Roki Sasaki. You just allow him to be himself, and then you have him with Garrett Cole and Max Fried, 2 of the best guys that you could learn from, 2 guys who have been to the World Series, right? Max Fried has won a World Series. Garrett Cole's been there twice with the Astros and with the Yankees. So I think that would be the perfect landing spot for Roki. In my opinion, like I said, don't get your hopes up, because if he signs with somebody else, we're all going to look like egg on our face right now. So I just want to throw that out there real quick. TC, since we haven't spoken, I want to get your thoughts on Roki and then throw it over to Grace, because Dodger fans are in Roki Sasaki's Instagram post leaving Dodger flags. I'm going to go find the video for y'all, but go ahead, TC, and then toss it over to the lovely Grace Monroe.
Yeah, as long as he don't go to the Dodgers, I don't care. I just don't stay away from them. I'm tired of all this, because I'm out here in, California, so that's all I hear is, yeah, we're gonna get, whatever. But it's like no,
go ahead, keep talking.
So the way I think about it is like you're a millionaire, right? And you hit the lottery. That's like basically getting Roki. Like we're already set. We have a great starting 5. Getting Roki is just like, just the cherry on top. And we don't even really need to put him in the starting rotation. He could start out of the bullpen. I mean, honestly, or the 6th man and skip some starts. He doesn't need to have the pressure to come in here and be the number 1 guy. We got Cole, we got Fried, we got Rodon, we got at least a top 3. But adding him to this rotation, my goodness, that would be unbelievable. And can you imagine postseason? I mean, we're unstoppable with pitching. We'd have guys, just a surplus of guys that we could throw at you. But again, it's gotta have some teeth, right? Because Cashman he's doing the waiting game. If he didn't think he had a shot at Roki, I think they would have already got a second baseman. They already finished their bullpen. So I think he realizes he has a real shot at this. I think they're a little bitter from last year with the Yamamoto, the way it went down, how they, went hard at him and they thought, he's coming here. All of us, everybody thought it was a done deal. We were getting Yamamoto. And, we got, shocked when, oh, wait, what? He went to the Dodgers? Where'd that come from? So this time around, I think we don't have our hopes up. But if he does come, it'll be a celebration. I told Jason on his previous show, I said, if Roki comes here, you need to do a 24-hour stream. I'll call Hector. I'll call Grace. I'll get them all on here. We'll do it for a charity. This will be a celebration. So I'm all for. Man, come on. It
would be.
Incredible. I'd love it.
No, listen. It will be like you said, icing on the cake. Go ahead, Grace. Let's get your takes, folks in the chat. Smack that like button. Go ahead, Grace.
I have a take, but before I give my take, I want you to point out Chris's super chat we missed a while back. He says, "Thank you so much, Chris." Yeah,
Chris Cray with the $2 super chat. Sorry about that, Chris. My fault, brother.
He says, "Is Alec Bowman
on the trading block?"
That was back when we were talking about possible fits and how people aren't available and you can't just, materialize a trade. And I do think Alec Boehm is in a conversation, but from what I've heard, the Phillies are asking for a lot.
Yeah, they're asking a lot for him.
So anyway, that's a good idea, but I think they're a little pie in the sky for that right now. the asking price is going to have to come way down before Cashman even approaches that, in my opinion. But talking about Roki Sasaki, what he's looking for, and like I mentioned earlier, he's looking for a place where he can develop, right? Mm-hmm. Well, we have a little guy, a little superstar known as Matt Blake. Ever heard of him? Roki, are you interested? Roki, let me tell you a little bit about what Matt Blake has done since he came over here from the Cleveland Guardians, where he had a lot of success working with their pitchers, right? So now after he came over here, we have so many success stories with Matt Blake. First of all, the Yankees, as we well know, never finish in the bottom, never. And we can't rely on draft picks because of this, right? We have to figure out ways to trade from a position of strength without having number one overall blah 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 draft picks like the Orioles can, or like some other teams can after they tanked for a while, right? What we do have and what we have been trading for years has been our pitching. Every team in the MLB comes to the Yankees to say, hey, we need a bullpen arm. Hey, we need a starter. Hey, do you have anybody coming up in the system? We trust the pitching farm of the Yankees. We trust the pitching lab of the Yankees. It has gotten us so much in the last 5 years or so. If you look back, and we haven't even missed them because we have so much pitching depth and so many guys continuing to come up, that we haven't even really looked back and said, oh, I really wish we hadn't traded such and such. Like we were able to absorb these losses because our pitching lab is so strong. If you look at Carlos Rodon, who came over, right? And what happened? Matt Blake worked with him, added in the changeup. Now he's throwing a nasty changeup, and he's been leaning on it so much. In the last year, it was how he was able to get over in a lot of situations by implementing in that changeup. Nestor Cortez, okay, a former DFA. Matt Blake picks him up, and then what happens? He added in a changeup and became a starting pitcher who they reliably went to, and then they ended up trading him for possibly one of the best, if not the best, current closer in baseball. You have Luis Gil, who went and had a Tommy John surgery, coming back from Tommy John surgery and rehabilitating that, and being on a possible innings limit last year. They navigated this kid all the way to Rookie of the Year, and he pitched in the World Series. There was no innings limit. They navigated their way through that, through all of his limitations, coming back from a serious surgery, and he had the best year that a rookie could have. Clark Schmidt, they implemented in a cutter for Clark Schmidt with Matt Blake, and it's one of the best cutters in baseball now, okay? Schmidt wasn't somebody that anybody was looking at to come up and have all the success that he's had. He's now a major part of the New York Yankees rotation. Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers of all time, in my opinion, Daddy Cole. And they added in with his arsenal a cutter. He plays a little bit with a changeup. He's got a sinker. He's got such an arsenal now. He's going to be able to continue to pitch well into his well into his mid to late 30s, because he has now added so much to his arsenal. He's able to, agility-wise, outsmart anybody at the plate. Then you have Luke Weaver, and I'm almost done. You have Luke Weaver, who, guys, he was a failed starter. Matt Blake saw something in him, picked him up, changed him into one of the best closers in baseball last year toward the end of the year. And now he's going to be a setup guy, most likely, obviously. And he has nasty stuff. Everybody's talking about Luke Weaver. And then you've got 2 examples of guys that we traded away who went and had a lot of success in Michael King and Jordan Montgomery. I know last year, Montgomery had kind of a tough year. You can blame that on his agent a little bit. But he won the World Series year before that. Michael King became a huge important starter for the Padres. So where I'm going with all this is, okay, and thank you for coming to my TED Talk, is that Matt Blake has plenty to offer a guy like Roki Sasaki, okay? Give Grace like 2 more hours to go over the Blake resume. Yeah,
absolutely.
Sorry, I tried to go as fast as I could.
No, I think he's agreeing with you. Like Matt Blake got the good resume. You can spend 2 hours going through it.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where us as Yankees fans, whenever we have Matt Blake acquire somebody, like last year we had Tonkin, right? Tonkin DFA'd multiple times just last year. And we were like, what in the world? And then we're like, you know what? Matt Blake sees something. And in Matt Blake we trust. And what happened? He ended up being very important to us in the summer, okay? We ended up releasing him, but he was very important to us for a while. We had, well, anyway, I could go on and on. But the point is, we as Yankees fans have seen this play out multiple times where Matt Blake gets somebody and turns them from a diamond to a diamond from the rough, right? Roki Sasaki is far from rough. I guarantee you Matt Blake is drooling over the opportunity to get this guy who is so talented, who has the hunger, who wants to win, who is ready to learn and wants to absorb Matt Blake's knowledge. And he's already throwing 102, 103, 105, 106 mile an hour fastball. So it's a perfect situation, not only for the rotation opportunity for Sasaki to develop with less pressure on him down in the rotation. So many pitchers to learn from. Heel, who has just done what he's going to try to do. Cole, Cy Young winner, one of the best to ever do it. And then Matt Blake. I mean, it is a perfect situation for Sasaki. If he wants to be on the East Coast, come on down. We're ready.
Again, throw the cooking emojis in the chat. Grace cooking. I just want to say real quick, when you look at Matt Blake, right, and the Yankees system when it comes to pitching, I just want to point something out to you guys. Over the past 4 years, when the Yankees traded for, including Devin Williams, when the Yankees traded for Juan Soto, when the Yankees added this starting pitcher here, this person there, do you guys know over the past 4 years, the Yankees have traded 30 different pitching prospects in order to make these trades happen? I'm going to say it again. The Yankees have traded 30 different pitching prospects over the past 4 or 5 years during the season or during the offseason to make these trades happen. Whether you like the trades in return or not, that's something that I think should go when it comes to credit towards the front office. Because the one thing that people have been saying for years is the Yankees don't develop pitching. They have no pitching in the minor leagues. They have no pitching. Like, where are they getting the pitching from? If we don't have no pitching, how are we making these trades with just our pitching prospects over the past 4 to 5 seasons? And then on top of it, when you look at Devin Williams, that was a trade that was made with our major league depth, not our minor league depth. We didn't touch any prospects when we traded for Devin Williams. And these conversations for Luis Arraez, the names that are being thrown out there are Marcus Stroman and Oswaldo Cabrera. That is our major league depth, not our minor league depth, right? So you got to give kudos to the front office when you have to give kudos to the front office, right? And this is why I keep telling people, when you look at Brian Cashman and how he's moving around, he is trading from a place of depth right now. People say, oh, we have so many infielders. Yes, we can move some pieces around. We could trade players here or there. So let the front office cook. Let Brian Cashman figure out what he has to figure out. Because whether that's Luis Arraez or whether that's going into the season with a combination of DJ LeMahieu or Oswaldo Cabrera as your second base option, I don't think that's what it is. But when you look at the different scenarios, what makes the team better? And bringing in Luis Arraez, to me, in my opinion, makes the team way better instead of just going into spring training with the same copy and rinse approach that we had in 2023 and 2024. And that's let DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo compete for the position, and whoever wins is whoever wins. No, you go out there, you trade for Luis Arraez. And then during the middle of the season, if a competition emerges between Oswaldo and DJ with Luis Arraez, then you have options to choose from. You don't go into spring training with just the worst option and hope that you can figure something together. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's like if you're on a plane. I'm actually if you're on a plane coming to New York City, right, from California, right? If you're on the plane, if you're sitting down in your seat and you look out your window, do you feel confident when you see people putting duct tape on the wing? DJ LeMahieu and Oswaldo represents the duct tape in this conversation. Go ahead, TC.
Oh, man.
Yeah, good analogy. Because that's what it seems like the last couple of years. The Yankees put together a duct tape lineup. Especially in 22 and our Fantastic Four with Franchi Cordero and I want to mention
Willie Calhoun.
So I mean, overall, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, Cashman, I'm starting to, you're starting to warm up to me. You're my guy now. So I'm not going to say any more bad stuff. This has been a good off season so far. Don't screw it up. But so I can't say any more hate to Brian Cashman's. But so I mean, we only need a couple pieces here and there. I think Cashman's going to figure it out and make some. I mean, these Devin Williams deal that came out of nowhere. That was, and the Fernando Cruz. I mean, come on. I mean, wow. These are some sharp moves and the trade pieces that we really don't need. So good. Good moves there. It's just figuring out the second base position. I mean, it's just second or third. I don't know. I think they seem to want Jazz to play third. I prefer him play second, but they'll figure it out. But overall, it's been a great off season. They were definitely bitter from the World Series, and Cashman went out and said, we gotta fix this team. We didn't get Juan Soto. That's okay. We'll put all these other pieces around him. Goldschmidt, he's okay. He's a good fill-in for a year. I like Bellinger. Like I said, Devin Williams, Fernando Cruz. We got some pieces. And, are we a World Series team again? I don't know. I think maybe if we finish with the second base position, maybe some bullpen pieces, then I'll start to believe that this is a World Series team again, and we can actually beat the Dodgers, because that's right. Who else is there to beat? I mean, I don't know if anybody else can compete.
I think you bring up a great point, TC, which is, and I'm going to kind of elaborate on that, which is that we're the best team in the American League as of right now. And that's what everybody is saying. And that's not just my opinion. The American League is so weak right now. Okay, we got some teams that you definitely want to keep an eye on, because once you get in the postseason, anything can happen, right? But are we going to go with, I mean, okay, look, nothing is a certainty, right? There's always injuries, possible, things that can happen. But on paper, we're the best team in the American League. We went to the World Series last year. Let's not gloss over that. We went to the World Series last year. We've improved our team. We've improved our rotation. We've improved our bullpen. So it just goes without saying that we're the best team in the American League. Does that mean we're going to go to the World Series? No, it doesn't necessarily mean that. But we have a great chance. Now, that probably takes some pressure off Cashman. We need a better second baseman. We need to fill this hole, whatever. But as it stands right now, we're already the best team in the American League. We're already projected to hit more home runs than any other team in the American League. We're already projected to have the best rotation in the American League. We're already. So would it be great to have a better second baseman? Yes, of course. I want one. Sign me up, okay? But from Cashman's point of view, if we go into this season with the team we currently have, is it the worst thing ever? No. Is it the worst thing ever to hold some cards back for the trade deadline, to see what we need to address at the deadline, and then play those last cards that we have to just put us whatever we need over the edge to get us back to the World Series, to get us to win the World Series? I'm not saying that that's what I want to happen, but I could see that happening because, like I said, as it stands right now, we're in a great place. And that's because the American League is weak. Is it enough to beat the Dodgers? No, probably not. Yeah. But you can only control what you can control, right? I mean,
yeah. And to Grace's point, we recognize that the American League right now is probably the weakest it's ever been, right? I know a lot of people, especially Met fans out there. Yeah, I'm coming for you guys. You guys can kick rocks, but some Met fans out there like to point out the AL Central. When you look at the AL Central, the only really weak team is the AL Central is the Chicago White Sox, right? That lost as many games as they did. But folks, we're gonna wrap it up right now. It's getting close to that time. It's 12:13. It was a great conversation. TC, again, I hope, thoughts and prayers. I hope everything is good with you and your family and everybody out there on the West Coast. I love you, my brother. Appreciate you. Folks in the chat, there may be a Knicks show later on tonight. Just keep the notification bell. Not sure if it's going to be tonight or tomorrow. Just keep the notification bell because we will be going live with the Knicks show. But, Grace, TC, love you guys. Folks in the chat, appreciate you guys. We had over 300. We had 300 people watching us right now. Over 160 was on YouTube. We're sitting at 92 likes. Folks, smack that like button on your way out. Grace, last words for the people before we get out of here.
Last words are, just remember at the end of the day, you could be a Baltimore Orioles fan who ain't doing shit. They ain't doing shit. They were supposed to go to the World Series last year. They were supposed to go to the World Series the year before. Where are you at? Where you at, Baltimore? I thought you got new ownership. I thought you were going to come play with the big boys. Where you at? You haven't won a postseason game since 2014. See? You see what I'm saying? I'm just spitting facts. So just remember at the end of the day, you're a New York Yankees fan. Life is good. We're fixing to go back to the World Series. Let's go Yankees.
The thoughts and views that have been expressed over the past 30 seconds reflect Grace Monroe.
No lies.
No, I'm joking. But no, like Grace said, I gotta piggyback off of that. We're Yankee fans. I get it. This offseason has been rough for us, but we're bouncing back. The front office is doing what they got to do. But just know we're always going to be here with some amazing Yankee news, amazing Yankees coverage. TC Stills, Grace Monroe, my brother Damien as well. Damien is trying to figure some things out. And when Damien can free up his time in the morning, he definitely will be here. Damien loves all of you guys. And until next time, make sure you drink some water. Make sure you say something positive about yourself. And until next time, adeuces, you sexy bastards, you. Bye.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.